From outrageous screaming matches,
I want you to take that Instagram down and keep it down.
I am not taking it down, and that is it.
to throwing cake in her husband's face on national television.
There's your cake, Michael. That doesn't work this time.
Angela Deem carved out a reputation as one of the most controversial figures in 90-Day Fiancé history. What started as an unlikely love story between a grandmother from Georgia and a young man from Nigeria spiraled into years of manipulation, violence, and humiliation, until Angela's toxic behavior finally caught up to her. This is the complete timeline of Angela Deem's downfall, and why fans say it was absolutely deserved. Angela Deem's journey began in 2018, when she first appeared on 90-Day Fiancé, before the 90 days. At the time, she was 52 years old, a grandmother, and living in Hazlehurst, Georgia. Her love interest? Michael Ilesanmi, a 30-year-old man from Nigeria. The age gap alone raised eyebrows, a 22-year difference. But that was only the beginning of what would become one of the most toxic and chaotic relationships the franchise has ever seen. From the very start, Angela showed warning signs. When she flew to Nigeria to meet Michael in person, her jealousy and temper were immediately on display. She didn't trust him, constantly demanded reassurance, and made it clear she wasn't going to let him out of her sight. What viewers thought might just be nerves quickly revealed itself as something much darker: Angela's need for complete control. Early on, arguments between the two became explosive. Angela screamed, stormed off, and threw tantrums, only to return moments later acting as though nothing had happened. Michael, who wanted a visa to come to America, put up with the behavior. He swallowed the insults, the yelling, the public humiliation, all in the hope of building a future with her. One of the first major blowups came during a night out in Nigeria. Angela accused Michael of lying to her, stormed into a bar, and began drinking to calm down.
I bought you Coke.
I don't want your fucking Coke.
When Michael followed her to talk, she completely lost it. In front of everyone, she screamed, threw the drink he bought her, and broke up with him on the spot. Michael looked devastated, humiliated in public by the woman he thought was his ticket to the American dream. But as fans would learn, that was only the beginning.
Michael, I'm going to hit you right in your mouth.
You don't have to do all this.
Bitch, get your shit and get out of my room, because we are done.
It's not about you.
Goodbye,
Let's talk about.
The infamous cake scene soon followed. After one of their arguments, Michael tried to make peace with a romantic gesture. He brought a cake to Angela while she was at a salon.
It's gonna work this time.
Please.
No, Michael, that's not gonna work. I'm embarrassed that you come up here. I'm already upset.
I'm sorry.
No, you're not sorry.
Instead of appreciating the effort, Angela shoved the cake directly into his face.
There's your cake, Michael. That doesn't work this time.
Frosting dripped down as Michael stood there in shock, embarrassed in front of strangers. The moment became one of the most memorable and disturbing images of Angela's behavior. What should have been a sweet gesture turned into a cruel humiliation. At this point, fans began to question why Michael tolerated such treatment, but the answer was obvious. He wanted to come to America, and Angela controlled that dream. She held all the power, and she knew it. Angela's controlling behavior didn't stop at arguments and public outbursts. She became obsessed with Michael's social media. She demanded he delete his Instagram, terrified that he might talk to other women. Michael resisted, arguing that he wanted to be independent, maybe even become an influencer to earn his own income.
I refuse. Why did I refuse? Why did I refuse? Because you're an idiot!
Angela saw that as betrayal. Her paranoia reached extremes. With constant phone checks, demands for passwords, and endless accusations. This obsession led to one of Angela's most infamous acts.
Are you not all of a sudden put your Instagram up? Mr. Michael, you blocked me on your Instagram. You're talking to women on your IG. I want you to take that Instagram down and keep it down.
I am not taking it down, and that is it.
Okay, goodbye. You and your birthday.
The night she flew to Nigeria unannounced to confront Michael. With her friend Renee by her side, Angela banged on his door, screamed outside his house, and when he didn't answer quickly enough, she turned her rage on his car.
Michael! At the wrong...
Get out of here! Your car's being destroyed!
Put that in your purse.
She ripped off the license plate, smashed parts of the vehicle, and caused thousands in damage, all while cameras rolled. Neighbors looked on in shock as Angela destroyed Michael's property, claiming she had the right because they were married.
What me know?
Stop your ass up.
You know this. Stop it. Look at my car.
That's my car, bitch.
Let
that man
leave
leave him alone. That's my car,
Stop
bitch.
it now. Hey, excuse me. Stop it.
It was chaos, violence, and pure humiliation for Michael. The situation escalated even further during a restaurant confrontation. Angela accused Michael of cheating online and demanded to see his phone. When he refused, she tried to grab it and stuff it into her purse.
I have a heart. I'm a mean bitch. I'll fight in a goddamn minute. I'll with you. You have no heart, man.
Have a seat.
If you think you gonna keep that Instagram, you got a wrong bitch, man.
The scene was absurd, a grown woman fighting her husband in public over his private messages. When Michael refused to give in, Angela stormed out, proving once again that she would rather control than communicate.
For what?
So I can look at it. I'm your wife. Let me see it. Put that phone in my purse and
for
we'll
what?
talk. You
How?
got bitches in your phone. You're
No
scared.
bitches. Stop it.
Let me see. You're fake to me, man. That's heart breaking. I'm gone. Nah, bitch.
Come here.
And this wasn't just jealousy. Angela often crossed the line into outright abuse. During heated arguments, she cursed at Michael nonstop, called him degrading names, and even became physically aggressive. Fans watched in horror as she lunged at him, threw objects, and screamed insults that no partner should ever hear.
More space? Then you shouldn't have got married, bitch! More space? Bitch, I need the space! You do nothing but eat, sleep, and
What shocked viewers even more was how long TLC continued to keep her on the show, airing scenes of what many called emotional and physical domestic violence. Her toxic behavior wasn't limited to her marriage. Angela clashed with other cast members during reunion specials. At the tell-alls, she was notorious for making late, dramatic entrances designed to stir chaos. She flipped off Usman, fought with other women, and interrupted conversations with screaming matches. At one point, she even exposed herself on stage to Michael's elderly aunt, leaving castmates and viewers horrified.
You bitch.
You call me bitch,
Wow.
stupid ass.
Hey, Michael. Look who's here. That lying son of a bitch. This ain't gonna be good.
I don't have nothing to do with this,
I hope not, Kim, because I have nothing wrong with you.
so keep me out of it.
By this time, Angela's reputation among fans was plummeting. What started as an entertaining, hot-headed grandma storyline had turned into something darker. Viewers accused her of being abusive, manipulative, and hypocritical. She flirted with other men openly while forbidding Michael from talking to women. She flaunted her independence while trying to strip Michael of his. Her selfishness extended even into serious matters. When Angela underwent weight loss surgery, she expected Michael to drop everything and cater to her. When he wasn't constantly by her side, she berated him on camera, accusing him of not caring whether she lived or died. Once again, it wasn't about love, it was about control. By the early 2020s, fans were calling for TLC to fire Angela. Online petitions circulated demanding she be removed from the show. Many pointed out the double standard. If a man had treated a younger woman the way Angela treated Michael, he would have been fired immediately. But because Angela's behavior drew ratings, TLC let it continue. Still, the cracks were showing. Public opinion had shifted against her. Michael's quiet suffering turned him into the sympathetic figure, while Angela became the villain of 90 Day Fiancé. And the longer she stayed on screen, the harder it was to hide just how toxic she really was. By the early 2020s, Angela Deem had gone from outrageous reality star to full-blown villain. What began as fiery drama had morphed into something darker, and fans were no longer laughing. They were outraged. And yet, somehow, Angela kept pushing the limits. The breaking point came in 2024 when Michael finally arrived in the United States. After years of long-distance marriage, endless visa delays, and brutal arguments, the couple was finally under the same roof. Viewers thought this might soften Angela, that perhaps being together would calm her jealousy. But what happened instead shocked everyone. Just 2 months after Michael arrived in Georgia, he escaped. That's right. Michael quietly left Angela's home and fled to Texas, where he moved in with friends. For years, viewers had begged him to run, to save himself from the constant humiliation. And finally, he did. Angela was furious. She ranted on social media, accused Michael of scamming her for a green card, and filed paperwork to annul the marriage. She painted herself as the victim, insisting she had been betrayed. But fans weren't buying it. They had watched years of her emotional outbursts, her physical aggression, and her controlling behavior. To them, Michael wasn't a scammer. He was a survivor. Angela's meltdown was brutal to watch. Instead of reflecting on her behavior, she doubled down. She screamed into Instagram lives, called Michael names, and tried to rewrite the narrative by claiming she had always been the one wronged. But the audience remembered the truth. They remembered the cake in Michael's face, the car she destroyed, the phone she tried to steal, and the endless accusations. This time the sympathy wasn't with Angela. It was with Michael. Things only got worse when Angela returned for the 90-day Fiancé reunion specials. Her behavior during the tell-alls was legendary for all the wrong reasons. She would make dramatic entrances, often showing up late, forcing the entire cast to wait for her. The moment she appeared, chaos erupted. She picked fights with cast members, interrupted conversations, and threw insults like confetti. Her most infamous tell-all moment came when Michael's aunt, Lydia, appeared by video call. Lydia tried to reason with Angela, telling her she didn't need plastic surgery to be beautiful and that Michael loved her as she was. Instead of taking the kind words gracefully, Angela snapped. She screamed at Lydia to stay out of their business. And then, in a moment that stunned even veteran cast members, Angela exposed herself on live television, flashing Michael's elderly aunt. The cast was horrified. Michael looked humiliated, and fans were disgusted. What was once outrageous TV had crossed into indecent behavior. Angela had become an embarrassment to the franchise. But Angela wasn't finished yet. In one of the strangest twists of her storyline, she hired a private investigator named Todd to dig into Michael's life. At the tell-all, she presented his so-called report, claiming it was almost 200 pages of evidence that Michael had been lying and cheating all along. The investigator revealed that Michael had multiple Instagram accounts, but when asked if he found any proof of cheating, he admitted there was none. That didn't stop Angela. She insisted the investigator just hadn't dug deep enough, stormed off stage, and once again portrayed herself as the betrayed wife. The cast rolled their eyes. Fans dragged her online. And the moment proved once again that Angela wasn't looking for truth. She was looking for control. Meanwhile, TLC's decision to keep Angela on the franchise sparked outrage. Viewers pointed out the double standard. If the roles were reversed, if a man had screamed at, humiliated, and physically attacked a younger woman, he would have been fired immediately. But because Angela's antics brought ratings, TLC let it continue. Petitions began circulating online. Fans demanded Angela be removed from the show, calling her behavior abusive and unacceptable. Social media threads labeled her the worst cast member in 90-day history. Many even announced they would stop watching if she remained. The tide had turned. Angela wasn't just controversial anymore, she was despised. But her downfall wasn't limited to TV. In her personal life, things were unraveling too. After Michael's escape, Angela tried to rebrand herself. She appeared at meet and greets and conventions, dancing awkwardly with fans and trying to cash in on her reality TV fame. But instead of building sympathy, the videos only highlighted how desperate she looked. Her health also became a storyline. After undergoing multiple cosmetic surgeries, Angela proudly flaunted her new look. But when fans expected her to show gratitude for Michael's support, she instead berated him for not being by her side enough during recovery. Once again, she turned a moment that could have shown love into another opportunity for control and criticism. Angela's selfishness became impossible to ignore. She openly flirted with other men while demanding Michael remain loyal. She claimed victimhood in every situation while refusing to acknowledge her own abusive behavior. And when professional investigators and other castmates pointed out that Michael wasn't cheating, she simply refused to believe it. The breaking point for fans came when Angela's violence escalated. The car-smashing incident in Nigeria was replayed endlessly online. Clips of her screaming, lunging at Michael, and throwing objects circulated with captions like, "This is abuse." People who had once laughed at Angela's outbursts now called for accountability. And that accountability came in the form of public opinion. Angela was no longer seen as the fiery Southern grandma who spoke her mind. She was seen as a bully, a hypocrite, a woman who destroyed her own marriage and then blamed everyone else. The fall was swift. Angela went from being one of TLC's most bankable stars to one of the most hated. She lost fan support, damaged her reputation, and found herself on the wrong side of history. By 2024, the narrative had flipped completely. Michael was free, rebuilding his life in Texas, while Angela was stuck in Georgia, ranting online and trying to cling to relevance. And for viewers, it was satisfying. After years of watching Michael endure abuse, humiliation, and manipulation, they finally saw him escape. Angela's downfall wasn't just deserved, it felt like justice. But the story wasn't over yet. Because while Angela had lost Michael and the respect of fans, she was still clinging to her spot in the franchise. She still had her social media. She still had her thirst for attention. And as part 3 of her downfall shows, sometimes the saddest ending is realizing the cameras have stopped rolling, and the world has already moved on. By the time Michael escaped Angela's grip and built a new life in Texas, the writing was on the wall. Angela Deem, once one of TLC's biggest stars, was unraveling. The chaos, the screaming, the endless fights, it wasn't entertaining anymore, it was exhausting. And for fans, it was satisfying to finally watch the self-proclaimed queen of 90 Day Fiancé lose everything she once held over Michael. Angela tried desperately to rewrite the story. On Instagram Lives, she shouted to her followers that Michael had used her for a green card, that he was ungrateful, and that she had always been the one mistreated. She posted cryptic messages about betrayal, love gone wrong, and loyalty. She even claimed she had proof that Michael was scamming her, despite investigators and even TLC hosts saying otherwise. But fans weren't fooled. They had years of footage burned into their memories. The cake smashed in Michael's face, the car destroyed in Nigeria, the endless insults, and the way Angela demanded complete obedience while openly disrespecting her husband. The audience didn't need Angela's proof. They already knew who the villain was. Her social media rants backfired. Instead of sympathy, she was bombarded with angry comments. Fans called her abusive, manipulative, and cruel. Some even urged TLC to cut ties with her completely, saying they could no longer stomach watching her. Hashtags like Fire Angela trended in fan groups. For every defender she had, there were hundreds more demanding accountability. Angela responded the only way she knew how, with more rage. She screamed at critics, called them names, and accused them of not knowing the real story. But the truth was simple. The cameras had shown the real story for years, and Angela's own behavior had been her downfall. Even her fellow castmates began to distance themselves. During tell-all reunions, while some tried to calm her down, many openly criticized her behavior. Some said she crossed lines that no cast member should ever cross. Others pointed out the hypocrisy of TLC allowing her on the show when men who behaved half as badly would have been fired immediately. The double standard became undeniable. Angela wasn't controversial anymore. She was a liability. And TLC, known for squeezing every ounce of drama from its stars, began to quietly phase her out. Meanwhile, Michael's quiet dignity only made Angela look worse. After leaving her, he didn't go on screaming sprees or post angry rants. He rebuilt. He surrounded himself with friends, started sharing small updates about his new life, and smiled in photos fans hadn't seen him smile in years. That contrast, Michael finally free and thriving, Angela isolated and angry, became the perfect ending to their long and toxic saga. Fans who had begged for years to see Michael escape now had their wish, and Angela's downfall felt even more deserved because of it. But Angela didn't stop chasing attention. She began appearing at fan conventions and meet and greets, awkwardly dancing and trying to sell herself as the same fiery personality that once entertained audiences. Instead, the videos that surfaced online were cringeworthy. The larger-than-life star of 90 Day Fiancé now looked like someone desperately clinging to a spotlight that had already dimmed. Even her surgery storyline, which she once hoped would transform her image, backfired. She lost weight, underwent multiple cosmetic procedures, and bragged about her new look. But instead of admiration, she was met with criticism. Viewers said the surgeries didn't change what really mattered: her toxic personality. Her attempt to rebrand herself as a strong, independent woman failed because the audience had already seen too much. To them, she wasn't independent. She was controlling. She wasn't strong. She was a bully. No amount of surgery or self-promotion could erase that. By 2025, Angela's reputation had collapsed entirely. What TLC once promoted as fiery drama was now widely recognized as emotional and physical abuse. Fans openly questioned why the network had protected her for so long. The online petitions demanding her removal grew larger.